Our guest today is Deb Benoit. She is a natural health coach and a detox specialist. She spent most of her career, however, in marketing and advertising, working with some of the largest retailers and businesses in the country. Her interest in natural healing came about as a result of a severe case of periodontal disease. Determined to avoid the surgery route, she began to seek alternative solutions and found a dentist that cured her disease naturally in just a few short months. That was 30 years ago, and that began her studies and research into natural health and environmental toxins. She spent the last 15 years researching and ridding her home of environmental poisons. It was through the encouragement of colleagues that she decided to launch her Healthy Start Today program with a goal to help 1 million people achieve a healthier, more vibrant life through toxin control and whole foods. She's become so passionate about helping people achieve this optimum health naturally that she enrolled at the Da Vinci School of Holistic Medicine at the ripe young age of 60, which of course I adore that. She is working towards her Bachelor of Science in Holistic Medicine degree, and she's also nearing completion on her detoxification and toxicology certification. Well, Deb, that is quite a change from the marketing and advertising world, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Gail. It was a big leap, but it was over a period of 30 years that I have been moving in this direction.
Well, I can see that. I mean, it's a direction that we certainly need as we learn more about the things that are going into our foods and going into our environment and going into all the things that we have in our homes. So it's certainly a necessity. But tell us a little more about how the dentist helped heal you and how that led you down this path of natural health.
Well, Gail, thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you, first of all, for having me on the show today. And, it's an interesting story how that all came about. I did get this very, very bad case of periodontal disease. And I actually had pockets that were measuring 6, 7, 8, and 9. It was really embarrassing because your gums are swollen, they bleed. And to be honest with you, it was from neglect. I just didn't practice good dental hygiene at the time. Anyway, they wanted to do surgery. And when I looked into the surgery, what I found is that most times your gums looked worse than they did having the actual disease. So I was determined to try to find another route, but I knew nothing about natural healing at all. So I just started asking people questions everywhere I went. And finally, someone told me about this dentist, and I went to him, and he did cure my periodontal disease naturally. And it really only took about 3 months. So it was life-changing for me because I really witnessed this very bad case. I mean, my mouth and teeth looked terrible at the time. And it completely cleared it up. In fact, what I did is, it was about a 3-month period. I moved, so I went to a different dentist, and I didn't tell him about the periodontal disease. And so they did their full checkup, and I only had 2 or 3 pockets measuring 1 or 2 in depth. So that's how amazing that it was. It just it healed my mouth incredibly.
So, but what specifically did he do for you, Deb?
Well, it was as simple as he put me on a vitamin regimen. But that regimen was more of a curative type regimen as opposed to taking vitamins, just to maintain your health or for preventative reasons. So by that, I mean, it was larger doses. And I'll tell you one specifically that he had me taking was vitamin C, but it specifically had to have bioflavonoids in it. And he really emphasized making sure it was a vitamin C with bioflavonoids. And at the time, he had me taking 4,000 milligrams a day for about 3 months. Normally, someone might take 500 to 1,000 milligrams a day. So it really was just that simple. And from seeing the transformation myself, I just started down that road. I just started researching and studying everything I could get my hands on at that point.
Well, it's interesting. I'm a fanatic when it comes to my teeth. I brush after every meal, I floss, I pick, I do everything. And even with all of that, many years ago, I mean, many, many, many years ago, probably 50 years ago now, my dentist told me I had my gums were bad and that I was going to have to, do something. Well, anyway, I went on this binge of constantly taking care of them and brushing and flossing and picking. And now, of course, my gums are great and my teeth are great, and I've been very lucky. But I am fanatical about it, and I do take a lot of vitamins on top of that. But it's interesting because even with all of that, I do get plaque in the front of my teeth simply because they are so close together. And the dentists have told me there's just really no way for me to avoid that unless, of course, I go like every month to get my teeth done. But it's really interesting. So you really started taking an interest in environmental toxins from this as well. And what led you to the area of specialty that you got, and what are environmental toxins?
Well, that's a great question. And what led me to is as I started to look into what natural healing can do rather than taking what we call patented medicine. My studies took me down a whole lot of different roads, and one of those roads was environmental toxins. And as I started to study and learn more about it, my concern really did grow because I was actually surprised by what I was learning. I didn't know that from the foods we consume to the products that we put on our body are actually causing health concerns with us. So as I started down that road, the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. And I personally just began my own quest of removing these toxins from my everyday life. And I can truly see a difference in what it's done, So that's what led me down the road. And then just to give you an example of some of these toxins, because there are so many of them that people may not even realize what they're putting on their body or ingesting. But I wanted to first share a few statistics with you. The first one is that there are more than 80,000 chemicals that are put into American household products, food, and food packaging, and a majority of these have never been tested for safety. Along with that, America produces about 74 billion pounds of toxic chemicals per year, and that doesn't include pharmaceuticals, pesticides, fuels, and food additives. But here's the statistic, Gail, I really want to kind of highlight because, this one hit me hard. And this one it's a study out that shows that they've been finding as many as 287 known chemicals in the umbilical cord. And that's before the baby ever takes its first breath.
So this is because of it's coming from the mother.
Yes. The mother is transferring the toxins that she is ingesting into her body or putting on her body, and it isn't transferring into the children. And
this to me is just amazing, Deb, because first of all, when you talk about 80,000 chemicals, I don't even know where that comes from. And then 74 billion pounds of toxic chemicals. I don't think anybody really has a chance from what you're saying, because, I realize there are people like you and people who are in your genre who are working to get rid of these things, but it's a massive effort. I don't know how it's really done and how people can really protect themselves the way that I know you would like them to be protected.
Well, that's a great thought, because it does seem massive and overwhelming because of the number. The first thing I would say is this, that what I've learned through my studies, particularly that certification course that I'm going on toxicology, is that our bodies actually are engineered to be able to handle a lot of that. So although it may be scary, we do actually eliminate a lot of that naturally and things like that. There are other things that we can do to help to do the elimination process. And then along with that, as overwhelming as it may seem, simple changes in our life can really, really minimize the number of toxins that we use. And I'll give you an example of that. I like the example of body lotion. Most body lotions have chemicals in them that they're called endocrine disrupting chemicals, and they affect our hormones. And there are a lot of products out there that don't have these kind of chemicals in them. And so that's part of what my program does, is it will show people what these chemicals are, where they are, the most important ones that you want to start to eliminate, what you can replace them with. And there are lots of affordable, good, safe alternatives out there. But, for me, it took years of research to find which ones are good and which ones work and that type of a thing.
So let me ask you, you've got this business now, Healthy to Start, and it's, to me, how are you getting your clients? What kind of obstacles have you run into in getting clients for your business? How do they know about you? You were in marketing and advertising, so you've got that as a background. So how are you promoting yourself so that, the people who are listening to us today are listening as a woman in business, and you're certainly doing a very hard to start business, even though your business is called Healthy Start today. It's a hard business to start. So how are you making people aware of you, and what kind of obstacles have you run into?
Well, I will tell you, my number one main way of getting business is networking. I feel very strongly in that, and the more people that you get to know, you could share your email list. There are things like that you can do. You can share speaking engagements with other people. So that's just a couple of ways that I work. And then I find, again, what I'm doing, everybody can benefit from. So I talk to people everywhere I go. I pass out cards relentlessly. I go through them a lot. And the conversations always come up about health. It's just an area that's a hot topic actually right now. One of my biggest challenges is changing minds a little bit. I don't know if that's even the correct word, but we have followed the medical route for so long. It's hard to imagine that natural can actually help us, and give us a better, healthier lifestyle.
But and what you're talking about, Deb, is so overwhelming. How do you, I'm thinking you and I talk, okay? We did meet in person. And I know that you're passionate about this because I heard it, I saw it, and I felt it. Yet, I have to tell you, it is mind-boggling. I think I know a lot about health, and I think I take really good care of myself. But I didn't even know 1% of the things that you were talking about. So, it's a hard buy-in, I would think, for people to say, yeah, I'm going to change, because it is hard to get people to react differently to something, when they've done something a certain way all their life, unless they have a situation like you did, where it was, you had to do something or else you were going to be in deep trouble. Now, I know you also talk about endocrine disrupting chemicals like BPA, and what effects do those chemicals have on us, and what health issues are they causing?
Well, there are a lot of studies, believe it or not. I think what happens with things like this is it's not that they're not covered in the news, they are, but a lot of our news today is just very quick, short sound bites. And so a lot of times we actually even forget it before the sound bite is over. And so